Hey you guys, how's it going? Oh my gosh, okay. So I've been feeling called to create some content here on YouTube, and I just tried like 2 or 3 times to do it on my laptop and it wasn't working. So we're gonna try it with the phone. I'm so glad that you're here. Welcome to my little corner of the internet. Um, I've had a YouTube for a while. Mostly so far I've focused on like card reading videos. But this week, I keep getting the call to create videos like this. I'm often on my Instagram stories talking and sharing what's on my heart, but your girl can have a lot to say, and sometimes that's a little overwhelming on an Instagram story. So, I thought I would do this. Um, Now I have some confessions. I am a recovering perfectionist. And I've had so much resistance come up to putting myself out here and daring to like shine my light a little bit or come out of the spiritual closet. But I really feel like that's what I'm trying to do here. So I'm so excited to be here. I'm really grateful that you're here. I have a few different ideas of things that we could talk about. Um, But I think first, it might be fun if we did a little grounding. Do you want to ground with me? So I'll just kind of lead us through a little centering meditation. So if you find yourself in a place where you have some privacy and it's like quiet-ish, if you can do that, I invite you to stand or sit comfortably. And what we're going to do is we're going to tune in to our internal world inside of our bodies. Our bodies have so much wisdom for us, they have so much guidance. All of our intuition comes through the sacred vessel that is our body. And so it can really be helpful to just take some time to be still and quiet and to tune in. So let's tap into the 3 main centers of the body. Let's tap in, starting with the navel center. So I often, when I'm directed to tap into my stomach, there are a couple places I go. I go to my upper stomach, like my solar plexus, but truly the navel center is more like an inch below your belly button and an inch inside of your body. So whichever one of those resonates to you, just put a hand there if that's comfortable. And let's tune in and notice what we feel in our belly or our solar plexus, whichever feels more like it has something to say, perhaps. And let's send breath and attention there. You may yawn. That's good and that's normal. That's just moving energy, you know. We are energetic beings and we have a lot of energy to move, especially if we haven't been doing that. So, how are you feeling in your stomach and in your belly? Notice, take note. I'm feeling okay myself, a little fluttery. Now, let's go to our heart center. And you can do wherever that feels best to you, anywhere. And place a hand there. Keep one on your belly too. And let's tune into our hearts. How are our hearts feeling? Send attention, send breath. I'm noticing some pressure in my throat, which to me means I need to yawn and move that energy. So I'm going to do that, and I invite you to just be with your process. Our bodies really want to support us and guide us and hold us. And it's really just a matter of us realizing that and turning toward them. So that's what we're doing here. If you notice sensation come up in a different part of your body, I invite you to place a hand there to support whatever intensity or emotion may be speaking to you. Like you could do your throat. Like I said, I felt some pressure there. So let's just keep noticing and breathing and tuning into ourselves, what our body is showing us by feeling it. Okay. And then last but not least, let's go to our mental center, which usually is somewhere in our head, and you can place a hand there. I'm gonna do, I think, on my forehead and my third eye. But no pressure. Always feel free to like move around. This is really about discovering ourselves. So we're gonna have a hand maybe on our heart, maybe on our forehead. Wherever your two hands feel like they need to be is where I want them for you. And we're breathing. Breathing into our bodies, breathing into our being. And maybe we're yawning. How is your mind? How is your head? What do you notice? What do you feel? I'm noticing I feel much calmer and much more grounded. I hope that you do too. My stomach was a little fluttery. My heart felt very expansive. And my mind felt pretty calm and at peace. If you want to share how your 3 centers felt, please do leave me a comment and let me know. I'd love to know how that was for you. Okay. Now, what's on my heart is the fact that it's a very intense thing to be a human and to be alive. And it's been particularly intense these last 4 years, wouldn't you say? Since 2020, it feels very intense to me. Now I'm in my 30s, so I've had a couple of decades to adjust to the experience of being a human being. And it has not been easy for me. It has not been an easy adjustment to settle into being incarnate in a body here on the beautiful planet Earth. We come in and we can have all kinds of experiences. And I think blessed are the few who really get what they need and feel nourished and feel okay and like ready to move through life. I had so much trauma very early on, and I was very cut off from myself and my experience of myself and my connection to source and the divine. And I really don't want that to be triggering for anybody. We all have a different relationship to spirituality, but I have become a very deeply spiritual person. After quite an interesting journey, I was, my family was very religious growing up, maybe even culty a little bit. And so naturally I became atheist in recoiling, away from the dogma that I had been exposed to. And I thought that that's what religion was. And I entered a very dark and painful time in my life, partly because I had so much trauma. And I just didn't know how to find myself. And I didn't know how to find peace. And I couldn't find a grip anywhere, really, And so my intention with coming on here is to share what I have learned and the tools that I have used, many of which are free or very accessible. We live in a day and age now in 2024 where there are so many resources available to us. And I guess, to give you a little bit of a hard time, I feel like there isn't really an excuse to not be taking care of yourself and pouring into your own cup. You know, 10, 15, 20 years ago, the internet was not what it is now, but there are so many resources. We are so gifted. We are so blessed. And I suspect that even with that being a fact, there are still people who are suffering and are struggling and are lost. Being alive is quite the journey, you know? What does Jung call it? Thinking of Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. Like, this is a big deal, being alive and being here now. I'm noticing I'm kind of waning in my energy, so I think this might just be kind of a little intro video, and more will come. But this is me sticking my neck out and putting a little toe in the water and being like, hey, I have some experience. I've worked through a lot myself. I am aware that there are other people who may be similarly suffering, and I want to help. I want to be a guiding light in a way that I can. And I have benefited so much from free resources on the internet and on YouTube. Um, I've just really felt called my whole life, but now especially to help people and be of service in a way that I can. And I feel like this is a really great way to do that. So, thank you so much for being here and stay tuned.